I want us all to take a moment, step back from the Rust language, the politics of it all, whatever, regardless of whether you are left, right, center, or indifferent, regardless of what you think about the Rust language, regardless of whether you're a C zealot or a Rust zealot, this message from your favorite storage unit software architect who's dying because he's moving stuff around. I want to talk to the Rust programmers right now. This is very important. I want you to know, A, I don't hate you. I don't really think ill of you. I think a lot of you are well-meaning, and I think a lot of you realize that Rust does have some tangible benefits that can really make a big difference in the entire world of programming, at least on its face. So here's where we disagree, but you really need to understand my point and agree with me, because I don't like seeing people get hurt or harmed or exploited in any way, and I feel like you are. So here's what's really going on behind the scenes that you guys just aren't noticing. When they have you programming in Rust, you see all this evangelism, you see all of this rabid, dogmatic adherence to Rust. It's attached itself to the most popular political ideologies of the past, I don't know, this light's too damn bright. Of the past 10 years or so. And even though the political pendulum may be swinging in the other direction a bit, unfortunately, the reason that it adhered to this politically popular stance is not because Rust agrees with your particular brand of politics. It's because the easiest way to get you to code in Rust is for the most popular political stance to be there to polarize people so that some people like me will get on YouTube and make some mean videos saying that Rust is for morons who are made of crab pinchers, who don't understand how to write code. And then you'll see me and you'll think, oh, these people are just evil, backwards, moron bigots. These people are just the kind of people that I want to see miserable and that I intend to prove wrong and that I want to see fail because they moralize against me or oppose whatever the current thing is. So because this is so polarizing, you get emotional about it, you get evangelistic about it, and you support it aggressively. The problem is that that's the goal. You supporting it aggressively is the goal. Because it's not about Rust. It's not about the language that you use. It's not about memory safety. It's not about any of this stuff. Have you never stood back just for a few seconds and asked, why is it that Rust adherents are so almost violent in their adherence? Why is it such a church? Why is it so dogmatic? And the reason for that is actually fairly simple. It's because it's not about the person or about the language, it's about corporations and the government. Now, what I'm about to tell you, a lot of you probably don't actually know. There has basically been a purchase of the Linux Foundation, and they have given out sub-grants through, to various other entities to enforce this memory safety thing. The United States government has laid out through CISA. Basically, they made it illegal to write new government code. You cannot work on a government coding project in a non-memory safe language. Now, why would they do that? Well, ostensibly, it's because memory safety, right? That's not it at all. What's the other aspect that goes along with Rust that a lot of people don't pay as much attention to? Rust has a strong culture of MIT licensing over GPL. Now, I wrote JDupes, libjodicode, WinRegFS, and Zero Merge. All of these projects are MIT licensed. I chose that. Because my philosophy was, I want my software to be maximally usable to anyone and everyone. I don't care how they use it. I want it to be as useful as possible. That was a personal choice. The problem is that Rust's culture is MIT. Rust stuff, just almost by dogmatic habit, is written with an MIT license instead of a GPL license. Now, that might not seem like a big deal to you, but it's a huge deal to everybody else, because here's the problem. What's the difference between these two licenses? GPL requires that if you distribute a program in any way to anyone else, you must also distribute all of your modifications to that source code. MIT says you can basically just do whatever you want as long as you credit the original authors. So what's going on right now is you think you're writing in Rust because it's new and cool and safe and because fighting the borrow checker gives you a dragon to slay. But what's really going on is that large corporations and the government have colluded to make it impossible to write code in things that basically aren't Rust at this point. I mean, what other memory safe languages are there? Let's be completely honest. What other language exists that goes, oh, we're totally memory safe, you guys, totally memory safe? We don't have memory safety issues. It's Rust. By dragging you into this, here's what happens. Suddenly, all new programmers, because it's the hip, cool thing, because it's got strong evangelism behind it, oh man, if everybody's gravitating toward this, it must be way better than C. It must be so much whatever, social gravity, basically. It's the reason Facebook beat MySpace back in the day. Look that up if you're not old enough. So what happened is the government and big tech companies, I'm not even kidding, the usual suspects, Google, AWS, take your pick. They realized, well, if the government says no memory unsafe languages because it's unsafe and we don't want the government to get hacked, and then big tech companies go, hey, we have huge budgets. We can handle doing that. We can make you some memory safe new code. Well, now the problem is that the only people who can actually afford to retool massive tool chains and utility sets is large corporations. Effectively, this knocks people like me out of the loop. I'm a C programmer, not a Rust programmer. I'm out of a job, so to speak. Now, I don't want the job, but that's not really the point, is it? And that's why I'm coming to you instead of someone else. Because despite all my videos talking trash about Rust, at the end of the day, I don't actually care all that much. But what I'm seeing now is way more disturbing, and we kind of need to come together on this instead of being apart. The large companies have effectively seized the government for their own gain. Now, the problem is the large companies cannot do this without people who know Rust. You, my friend, my probably young, maybe left-wing, maybe, gender different, I identify as friend, despite our differences that we may or may not have. We're still programmers at the end of the day, and we're still people and humans, and I still respect you as a human, and I respect you enough to tell you what's basically going on is governments are grooming the younger programmers to move toward Rust. They're paying the older programmers to move towards Rust, and now you're going to basically be doing a bunch of free work, re-implementing things in Rust to dispose of, they call it copyleft washing, the GPL, which forces your changes to be available to everyone if you distribute it, and then their changes have to be made available back to you so that you can benefit from them too. It's a tit-for-tat sort of benefit thing we both gain in favor of MIT licensing everything, which means now MIT licensing, companies can just take that and do whatever the hell they want with it. I can stick it here. Look, let me just grab a box, okay? I can take this laptop right here, right? And in the BIOS or the software on it or whatever, I can build 10,000 of these laptops and I can ship them to whoever I want. And I don't have to give them any of the code that I modified to make this thing work because the license, MIT, doesn't require that I do so. So I just won't. So I get to modify your work. I take your work as the base for free. Thanks, buddy. You get nothing but exposure. You don't even get exposure, really. And then I get to take that, make the changes I need for it to make a lockdown laptop that forces you into age verification and a bunch of other negative crap. And then as a corporation, I can now take that laptop, sell it to you when yours inevitably dies with Windows 14 or whatever that locks you down. The TPMs locked you out, whatever, right? This cage has been closing for a long time. But now, I don't even have to give you the code. Now you don't have a chance. Now you'd have to rewrite everything from scratch. I'm one guy. Do you think I can rewrite the Linux kernel from scratch? Something with literally tens of thousands of contributors, of which I am actually one. No. No, it'll never happen because I'm one guy. I can't possibly do it. You can't make your own bank and make your own roads and make your own city and make your own government and make your own power company. You're one person. You can't do it. My Rust programmer friends, you are my peers, regardless of age difference, regardless of ideological difference, and I don't want you to do a bunch of free work so that a bunch of crappy corporations can benefit from your free labor and then use it to lock you in a cage, a technological cage. If you have that laptop right there, you should own it. And that's the end of it. Age verification, my ass. There is no reason that you shouldn't be able to do 100% of whatever you want with the hardware that you own, that you paid for. And unfortunately, indirectly as it may be, Rust is being used to wash away free software in favor of software that corporations can do whatever they want with. And you are the pawns. I'm sorry to say it this way, but the useful idiots. I don't think you're idiots. I think you've been duped and lied to. And that's why I'm making this video. I can't keep making videos just talking trash about Rust when the real problem is the people who are using Rust to trick you into doing free work for them because you think you're beating Hitler or something. And then at the end of the day, you're just building the cage they're going to lock you in. And maybe now and then you'll get fresh hay and water if you verify your age with your government-approved ID or whatever. Heaven help you if the internet cuts off. We are so screwed, and I just don't want you to be a part of it. Please heed my warning. I'm so sorry I even have to make this. I have to move more bins, but this whole thing has caused me a serious crisis of conscience because I feel like you've all been duped. And I, above all other things, cannot stand the notion that a bunch of innocent people have been tricked into doing free work for a bunch of big corporations that don't give a rat's ass about them. Anyway, so I guess I've nuked all my opportunities for those NVIDIA jobs I applied for. Yeah, by the way, that's why half my videos are gone. So, yeah, not getting that distinguished engineer NVLink Fusion position anymore. But it's more important that I don't let the entire world go to hell just because Microsoft, AWS, and etc. have managed to trick a bunch of people into doing free work for them to lock up all the software. Have a good night, morning, whatever it is in your part of the world. I appreciate your support. Yes, I'm still working on my software projects. I have some big things that I'm working on right now, actually. So stay tuned. Have a great evening, or whatever the hell it is.